Hello and welcome to Inside Iraq. I'm Jassim Azzawi. An opaque agreement has been reached among Iraqi politicians to put an apparent end to de-baathification. When Paul Bremer, the occupation's first civil administrator, issued the law in 2003, he designed it to bar only the highest echelon of the defunct party. But Ahmed al-Chalabi, the mastermind behind de-baathification, wielded the infamous law as a political weapon to eliminate rivals, settle scores, and carve a powerful political position for himself. The latest agreement did not erase the law permanently. It simply froze its application. Thus, unless Parliament expunged this notorious law, no one can rule out its comeback in the future.
An Iraqi judicial panel has ruled that 9 parliamentary election winners who were accused of ties with Saddam Hussein's Ba'ath party can take their seats in the parliament. Since the election results were announced in March, the Justice and Accountability Commission has been trying to ban some election winners from taking office under charges of their ties with the Ba'ath party. Some Iraqi parties accuse the Commission of targeting certain sects and rival political blocs. The Iraqiyya bloc, led by the former Prime Minister Ayad Allawi, who won most seats in the polls, says it has been the main target. It accuses the Commission of being a tool in the hands of both the second-placed bloc led by incumbent Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki and the Iranian regime. The head of the De-Baathification Commission is Ahmed al-Chalabi, once a Pentagon darling, now accused by the Americans of ties with Iran. The Justice and Accountability Commission says it will respect the decision of the High Court. But it's not clear if these developments will bring an end to the current political impasse. No single bloc won enough votes to form a government. And there has been bitter dispute over the correct constitutional steps required to form a coalition government. Omar Saleh for Inside Iraq.
To discuss whether de-baathification is dead and buried or is still alive and kicking, I'm joined from Baghdad by al-Rubaie, the Secretary General of the centrist movement, and by Iraqi MP from the Iraqiyya list, Mustafa al-Hiti. Gentlemen, welcome to Inside Iraq. al-Rubaie, let us start with a very simple question, and that is, this latest agreement among Iraqi politicians to put an apparent end to de-baathification, is it a good decision or is it bad? Would you say good riddance to de-baathification, or would you say Iraqi politicians committed a grave mistake?
I think de-baathification is still alive and kicking, but I believe what has been decided recently is a positive step forward. Now, the concept of de-baathification, or better known as justice and accountability legislation, this concept is driven or derived from denazification, and it's not an American concept. Please, it is not a Jerry Bremer concept. This is a concept we've been discussing since 2001 and 2002. And when we were in the opposition, we were reading about the denazification, and we made sure that this is not going to be perceived and wrongly misunderstood, that this is going to be desunnification, or to purge all the Sunni or all the Ba'athists as an individual. What we need to do is we need to avoid using the de-Ba'athification or the justice and accountability law to use it to settle political scores between different political parties. We
shall come to that, al-Rubaie. For the time being, let me ask the same question to Mustafa al-Hiti. Did they make a big mistake, or was it a positive step?
We have to differentiate between two terminology, de-Baathification and justice and accountability. What's going now in Iraq is a de-Baathification, although the law name is now, or the recent name is justice and accountability. If you have elements of justice and accountability to be applied to the law, there is nothing inside the law which really means is accountability and justice. It is not. It's far away from that. Even it is far from the Constitution. If you go to clause 135 of the Constitution, point 5 and 6, it will find it more fair and more compatible with the term justice and accountability rather than de-Baathification and the law.
I noticed al-Rubaie used this is a positive step. He neither said Iraqi politicians committed a big mistake by putting an end to this de-baathification, nor did he say good riddance to this law. You kind of sat the fence. You are not willing to Muwafaq al-Rubaie to say that this law is bad or this agreement is good.
Jassim, let me tell you something, or tell your viewers something. This justice and accountability legislation was approved, discussed, and approved by the Council of Representatives, by the Parliament. And it was the outcome of a very difficult discussion and negotiation, which were the Sunni bloc, if you like, and the Shia blocs and the Kurds blocs in the Parliament. They came to this compromise, which is called justice and accountability. Now, whether it is just or unjust, now it is a legal issue.
You as a politician, how do you look at it?
I believe it has been misused to settle political scores.
Exactly. Let me encourage you and let me compliment you for having the courage to say that it was misused, and we know it was misused by Ahmed al-Chalabi and Ali Lami. But let me get a response from Mustafa al-Hiti. Muwafaq al-Rubaie said something, and that is this law has been sanctioned by Parliament. That is not my recollection. I don't think Parliament has ever issued the law of justice and accountability. Mustafa al-Hiti, you are a member of Parliament. Is it your recollection that Parliament has sanctioned this law?
No, because it is against the Constitution. Point 6 from clause 135 says that the decisions of the de-baathification committee should come to the Parliament and discussed by the committee of de-baathification in the Parliament, and then the committee should subject this to the Parliament, and then the Parliament will vote for that case. So there was no court in this case. And as you know, in the Iraqi Constitution, if you are going to put any law which is against the Constitution, the law should not...
Let us hear from Muwafaq al-Rubaie. Go ahead, Muwafaq al-Rubaie. This law was never passed by Parliament.
No, it was passed by the Parliament by a majority, and it was literally a consensus between the three major blocs in the Parliament, and I was there, and it's a legal piece of legislation. The problem is in implementing this piece of law. In the ideal world, this should be left to judges, should be left to lawyers, should be left to those who are professional, non-politically motivated people to implement this piece of legislation. See, also it should have been also accompanied by what I call the overarching, the overall, what I call the transitional justice. The transitional justice is a concept we have to introduce to Iraq, whereby we can forgive, Mustafa, but we should not forget.
Dr. Muwafaq, I didn't say it didn't pass. It passed from the Iraqi Parliament, but there was an opposition for that. What I'm saying really, that the law is not comply with the Constitution at all. And as you said, if there is, it must be a committee in the de-baathification committee. We don't have now a committee like that. Dr. Ahmed al-Chalabi will pass the things, and there is what you call executive member who execute the things, and the papers will go directly to the High Court. So there is no really an accountability and justice in that mode of or route through which the person is going through. So in a minute, in a moment, the history of a person, it means his past, present, and future can be deleted by just one person.
Let me just quote you a direct quote by Ahmed al-Chalabi in the New York Times. And I know you just said, I don't want to discuss people and discuss individuals, but politics is the essence and the actions of individuals. There is no escape. Ahmed al-Chalabi said, I blew it up in their faces, meaning to say he used JAC, Justice and Accountability Commission, as a tool for political purposes before in January, before the elections and after the election. Go ahead, Muwafaq al-Rubaie.
I totally reject discussing and criticizing people or individuals' personality in public. What I'm saying is it is extremely important. We recognize that this is a piece of legislation being passed by the parliament properly, and if people have a problem with it, then and they believe that it doesn't tally with the constitution, they should go and complain and object to the Supreme Judge. But if as long as it is a piece of legislation passed by the parliament, then we will implement it, and we should uphold. And even if it is unjust, and I believe the Justice and Accountability Law, some of the articles in it are unjust, but we should respect this.
And yet you are not willing to say good riddance to this law. I am surprised, Muwafaq al-Rubaie, when you say this law is not a good law, and when Iraqi politicians, I just froze it now, you as a politician, as a Secretary General of a very movement, you are not willing to say good riddance to this law. I am surprised, Muwafaq al-Rubaie.
No. What I am saying, Jassim, is this: as we should in the next parliament, we should work to amend the Justice and Accountability Law.
Exactly.
We should also appoint in the commission, members of the commission, we should appoint judges and lawyers and professionals to implement the new amended law. And the very important thing is we should reintroduce or introduce a new concept in the law, which is what I call transitional justice, whereby we should forgive, but we should not forget the crimes of the past.
Fine. Mustafa al-Hiti, let me go back to hold on just a second, Mustafa al-Hiti. Let us just go back to this justice and accountability and the reason why it is wielded as a political tool by Ahmed al-Chalabi and his Jack Commission. He is saying that the reason why he used it is because of his fear that the Americans were intervening in Iraqi politics to reorient its politics, because he is fearing that the Americans have a plan to bring back the Sunnis into the Ba'ath party and play a major role to stem the tide of Iranian influence. This machination, this usage of law in order to fashion a certain politics is very dangerous in Iraq, isn't it?
It is. That's why I'm saying, I mean, if we are going back like that, what's the difference from the old regime? As Dr. Muwafaq al-Rubaie said, there must be at least the comply between the law and the constitution. In the constitution, even in point 5 of clause 135, being a member in Ba'ath party, it is not a crime. You still have to have your rights, as the constitution said in chapter 2, for the rights of the people. Now for the law itself, even if you are a member, you cannot go to any public work or to be in a public, what you call it, like in the parliament or such a things. That's why I'm saying it was really misused, and there is no a commission, and in the commission there must be a committee. There is no committee, just one person, and the person is your opponent in the political process. In the last election, he is in another party, in another bloc. So how can the things go in Iraq in such a way? That's why I'm saying this law should be amended in the next parliament. And
well, until that law is amended and perhaps even deleted by Iraqi parliament, Muwafaq al-Rubaie, this latest agreement, let me give you a direct quote by an Iraqi politician. He said, "This is chaos. We have no facts. We don't know exactly what is going on regarding this agreement." And let me tell you who said that. That is the Iraqi Vice President, Tariq al-Hashimi. When such a senior politician does not know exactly what was struck among Iraqi politicians, what chances do an ordinary Iraqis or members of the Ba'ath party to know what is their fate is going to be?
I believe this is normal in Iraq, and this is very expected. People are coming from completely different political background, and there is a lot of political movement and political jogging, if you like. But I would like to raise a very important question. Without leaving this program, the viewers should know, or the question is actually, during the 35 years of the reign of the rule of Ba'ath Party before 2003, there were so many atrocities, calamities, tragedies, crimes being committed by somebody, by someone. Who have committed this? And in the name of who? Definitely not in the name of Sunni Arabs in Iraq, definitely not in the name of Shia or Kurds, but it was in the name, the one who was governing Iraq during the 35 years before the American invasion were the Arab Ba'ath Social Party. And these crimes have to be, somebody have to stand up and be honest and
you
frank
bring a very powerful point and a very moral position of al-Rubaie.
Who have committed
please let
crimes?
me just put a note.
Go ahead, Mustafa.
Dr. Muwaffaq, please, in your conscience, I am just asking your conscience, is it committed by the Ba'ath Party or by Saddam Hussein by himself? And you know, and I am an Iraqi living in Iraq all my time. Is it the crime done by the Ba'ath Party or the Ba'ath Party is in a case
Go ahead,
which is different from Saddam Hussein
very good question.
by himself?
Very good question, and I thank you for it. I don't believe Saddam Hussein could have done all these crimes. I met Saddam Hussein, but he must have ordered all these. He could have not killed 5,000 Kurds in Halabja in 6 minutes in gassing them. He could not have killed by hand 180,000 Kurds in Al-Anfal. He could not have buried
He needed
hundreds
accomplices,
of thousands in the mass graves.
Everybody accept that. You need accomplices and you need a mechanism and you need a party and you need a machine in order to conduct. That I agree with you, but here's the question. Here's the question, al-Rubaie, by people watching this program. You are going back 35 years. People are going to ask you now, during those 7 years, there are a lot of atrocities are committed by people in power now, and yet they are going scot-free. Nobody is punishing them. Are we going to wait another 35 years until this current regime collapses, and then we have another trial? There are crimes that have been committed since 2003 by members and by parties and by individuals currently in power.
Jassim, we are not discussing the crimes committed after 2003. We are discussing
these are good crimes. These are good crimes. We are not going to talk about them. We are just going to talk about the bad crimes before 2003. Can you? When people hearing you this, they are going to be surprised to say we are not going to talk about these crimes.
Listen to me. If you want a fair discussion in your program, and your program to be successful program.
It is a successful program. Thank you very much. But what you just said, we don't need to discuss those crimes committed now.
Please. Jassim, you should not take side.
Let me
you
ask
are a
question,
moderator
please.
in this. You are a moderator in this.
I bring the hard questions, al-Rubaie. Let us not make the discussion inside Iraq. You just said something very telling, very important, and that is you are not going to discuss the crimes after 2003. Individuals watching this program say, what kind of politicians is this? He's not willing to question the crimes happening now, but he wants to go back.
I can tell you your viewers are much more intelligent and much more wiser than what you are saying.
Go ahead,
we are saying this.
Mustafa al-Hiti, go ahead.
I'm not. When we discuss the, just listen to me, please. When we discuss the crimes after the invasion, the American invasion in the last 7 years, I will say, and I'm the first one to say, there were so many crimes committed by the Americans, committed by the Brits, and committed by the Iraqis against our own people, against so many people, and against Shia, Sunnis, Kurds, and
you're absolutely right.
And against the
you
Christians.
Finally said it. You finally said it. The crimes committed by Iraqis against Iraqis, and some of them are in power. But let me listen to Mustafa al-Hiti, please. Hold on just a second, please. Let me listen to Mustafa al-Hiti. Go ahead.
Let me say something, really.
Go
ahead, Mustafa al-Hiti.
Excuse me.
Hold on just a second, please.
Dr. Muwaffaq, please. I want to put an end for this, what you call it, problem. A crime is a crime. whether it's going to happen 20, 30 years or maybe happen in the future. So it is a crime. What you said about killing the people in the conflict, what you call it about the Kurds, is right, really. It is a conflict. There is an army. There is a fighting. Not all the soldiers. The soldiers, they are the Iraqi armies. And you know, this is the, what you call it, belief. This is the orders. If you receive an order to go there and to fight, it should be in that way. So it is not a matter, the Baathists, they do it. I mean, this is an order from the high commander of the Iraqi army to tell the people go, or to the army go here and there. This is a different case. And we know, and you know, and the Iraqis, the Baathists know that in 1979, when Saddam Hussein came to the government by himself, the first man, you know, he had executed half of the high commander party. He killed half of the people of the good Baathists, and they are against him at that time. Even then, we have found the Iraqi inside that it is not the Ba'ath party who govern Iraq, it is Saddam Hussein who govern Iraq, which is really, it is a fact. That's why I want your conscience to go back to this. That's why
let me get a response from al-Rubaie. Go ahead.
When the Iraqi constitution, just one moment, Jassim, said that not, I mean, being a member in Ba'ath party, it is not a crime. It is right, because when we formulate and put and write the constitution, it was the belief all the people who, or the committee who write the constitution, not every Ba'athist is
we got the point, Mustafa al-Hiti. Go ahead, Muwafaq al-Rubaie.
I think the discussion is, this is a discussion which is taking us nowhere. But let me tell you something, Jassim. I think to get something to your viewers and to get this discussion much more intelligent, I believe you should not confuse the issues. The crimes before 2003 have different motives, different scale from the crimes after 2003. Of course, I agree that crimes are crimes, and the crimes have to be punished, and we should not wait for the crimes for those criminals before we ask them and we make them accountable for the crimes they have committed, whether they are before 2003 or after 2003, whether they are by al-Qaeda or the hardcore Saddamists or or what do you call them, the soft Baathists before. But Saddam needed an instrument, need a whole machinery, need a whole government, and need a whole party to implement or to carry out his crimes against our own people.
Mustafa al-Hiti, the last word, the last question. Do you think this law is expunged, or this is just an agreement to put it in abeyance for a time being, and then at one stage later on it's going to come back?
Well, I think we have to end up this, what you call it, kind of revenge. I mean, we have to finish this story, and we have either one of two cases, either to just delete such a kind of law, or in the amendment we should take all the things which show there is a revenge from the people in the past. So we need really a peaceful society, and we have to take the revenge out of our society and to build democracy in Iraq in a very concrete basis.
Muwafaq al-Rubaie, Mustafa al-Hiti, gentlemen, thank you for being guests on Inside Iraq. To watch the show online, please visit our website, aljazeera.net/English. We have reached the end of this show. Join me next week when we take another look inside Iraq. Until then, this is Jassim Azzawi wishing you a great week.